What's going on, guys? This is Devil's Advocate Boxing. I just wanted to do a little video giving you guys my opinion on the most overrated and the most underrated boxers that there are today. Okay, I'm gonna say shit that I know a lot of people aren't gonna like. So if you're a sensitive fan and you don't like hearing things that might offend you because of whatever crazy reason you have, just turn off the video. Alright? Simple as that. This is just my opinion. This is just the way I see things. One of 7 billion people. So don't get all butthurt when you hear something that you don't like. Okay? And, also, think about what the words underrated and overrated actually mean. Okay? If you're underrated, that means that the general consensus of the general public and the general boxing fans believe that you are not as good as I believe you actually are. And that's all this is. Okay? I can say that someone is overrated, and I'm not calling them a bad fighter. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, they are not as good as what their cult fan following or what the media portrays them to be. Okay? So anyways, let's get right into it. And this is in no particular order. But, no, let's just leave it at that. This is in no particular order, okay? First name I want to mention, Guillermo Regondeao, okay? The guy, and I'm talking about, this guy has God-given, he was born to box, okay? I don't care if you say he's boring, okay? He had one quote-unquote boring fight, even though I enjoyed it. He had one quote-unquote boring fight against Nonito Donaire. And you guys want to criticize him for it. Okay? Truth is, he's extremely fast. His ring generalship is ridiculous. His footwork is some of the best I've ever seen. In his 12 pro fights, he has already beaten one of the top 5 pound-for-pound fighters in the world, okay? A guy that probably outweighed him by 15 pounds. A guy that HBO was blowing smoke up this guy's ass like no other. Fighter of the year. None other than Nonito Donaire, okay? And like I said, I don't care if you think that fight was boring. I don't care if you think that fight was close. To me, it was a masterpiece. To me, Guillermo Regondeao clearly won the fight, okay? And he won the war, too. You know? He won the war and he won the fight. Look at Donaire's face after the fight, alright? And I don't care if you want to say his style is amateurish. If his style gets him wins, to me, he's a threat, okay? It's kind of like that, you know, in Street Fighter when you got that fucking chick that does the really fast kicks and someone traps you against the wall. I don't know if it was Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. Someone traps you against the wall and they just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. And you get so mad and you want to say, oh, this is fucking unfair and blah, blah, blah. And you get so angry, but it's part of the game. You know, it's part of the game. If you got yourself trapped up against that wall and you allowed that to happen to yourself, that is your fault. And if Nonito Donaire could not cut off the ring properly, that is his fault, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry to tell you, but it's true. And I'm a big Nonito Donaire fan. I was a little bigger, more of a fan when before he fought Regan Deao, because I thought he made a lot of excuses as to why he wasn't gonna fight him, and those excuses turned out to be completely just off because he got his ass whooped. But anyway, let's keep it moving. Second name I want to mention, Tim Bradley, okay? And I know that now Tim Bradley is finally beginning to get his just due, which is cool, but I want to say that he's underrated because the first time I saw him, okay, and maybe it's because I'm slightly biased, and I could tell right off the bat that he was biracial, he was black and white, and I don't know if you guys know, I'm also black and white, but, regardless, I'm not the type of person to jump on someone's nuts just because I can relate to them. Even the first day he fought on HBO against Orlando Lara, guy who's never been stopped, he showed me almost everything that I needed to see, okay? Besides the fact that he can adjust. He showed me that he can move. Most power punchers cannot move well. Most power punchers do not have good defense. Most power punchers aren't always counter punchers or can't always box. Keith Thurman does it all, and this motherfucker's old school, man. This is what us boxing fans have been waiting for, okay? Like, this is the guy. If you guys are gonna complain that boxing's dead and there's too much bullshit going on, too much buddy system and too much complaining over money, too many fighters ducking each other, this is the motherfucker that is gonna save boxing, if that's how you feel, okay? I'm telling you that right now. I saw that from the very first second I saw him. People told me I was crazy. People at the gym told me I was crazy. People on YouTube told me I was crazy. Oh, he's got bad footwork, and he needs to work on his speed, and he needs to work on his boxing ability. He probably has a bad chin, and blah 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 bullshit. He showed that he has all of that after his fight with Diego Chavez, who, by the way, is rumored to hit harder than Lucas Matisse. Okay, I'm not saying he's better than Lucas Matisse, but apparently he hits harder than Lucas Matisse. I mean, Keith Thurman showed that he had it all. And right now, he is one of my favorite fighters. Like I said, he's starting to get his just due, but there's a lot of people that do not give him his just due. Okay? Let's go on to the next fighter, Timothy the Desert Storm Bradley. Okay? A lot of people forget about what this guy did at 140 pounds. He was the 140-pound king. I firmly believe that if he was still at 140 pounds, he would still be the 140-pound king. Okay? He beat Peterson. He beat Casamayor. He was old, whatever. He beat Devin Alexander. He beat Pacquiao, whether you want to dispute it or not. And I'm not saying that I had Bradley winning. I had Pacquiao winning a very, very, very close decision. And basically the tipping point was, in order to be the champion, you have to beat the champion. And I don't feel as if Bradley thoroughly beat the champion. But anyways, I mean, this guy gets some of the most hate out of any fighter out there. And it just doesn't make sense. He's humble. He's willing to fight anyone. He's got the heart of a lion. He can box. He can fight on the inside. He's smart. I just think he's a great fighter. And a lot of people do not give him credit. And it's fucked up to me. Okay? I'll tell you one thing. If he is not shot because of the Provodnikov fight, he's going to go in there and he's going to outbox Marquez. And if he fights Floyd Mayweather, That'll be one of Floyd's hardest fights. Okay? Remember I said that. Just remember. Let's go on to the next fighter. Gary Russell Jr. Okay? A lot of people want to hate on Gary Russell because he hasn't fought anyone yet, and that's legit. That's legitimate, okay? But the thing is, you can still tell when someone is going to be an extreme talent just by looking at what they do to the tomato cans that they put in front of him. I mean, look at all the exposure Adrian Broner's getting. When Adrian Broner, you know, he has questionable decisions in his past. You know, he's not exposed. I wouldn't call him exposed by any means, but he has shown flaws. Gary Russell has done exactly what he has supposed to do with the guys that they put in front of him. He has either knocked them out or beat them thoroughly. Okay? He's got great head movement. He's got the fastest hands in the sport, bar none. He has fast feet when he wants to. A lot of people say he fights flat-footed, but you know what? If you're that fast and you could stand in front of someone and counter and slip their shots right in front of them, then so be it, okay? Who knows? Maybe if he has to use his bicycle one day, he will. I know when he's stalking someone, he's pretty goddamn fast on his feet, okay? And I just hear a lot of people saying that he doesn't have what it takes and he's never going to step up and he keeps fighting bums. He's just moving along a little bit slower than the next guy, okay? Instead of having someone who they push to superstardom, but they're still fighting tomato cans, Gary Russell Jr. is moving his way up, and he just isn't known as a superstar yet. But to me, he's underrated. And to me, one day in the future, you guys will see that he's underrated. Okay? And that's pretty much it. Let's go to the next guy. And I might get some huhs or some whats on this one, but Paulie Magic Man Malignaggi. Okay? Yeah, it's kind of hard to defend a guy with 7 knockouts out of 30 or 40 fights, something like that. But like Nassim Richardson said, you know, Paulie having no power and making it to the level of boxing that he is at today and that he's been at, it's incredible. It's incredible. You guys always talk about strategies and say, oh, what if this guy can't hurt this guy? What if this guy can't hurt this guy? Paulie Malignaggi has been in a fight where he knew he could not hurt the guy. The other guy knew that Paulie could not hurt him numerous times. And Paulie ends up winning the fight. Not to mention, the only people he's lost to are either champions or champions and people that just went against his style. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people right now that I think Paulie Malignaggi would beat. People that are regarded a lot higher than him. Okay? Yeah, I mean, it's just true, you know. People, I feel like a lot of times, people want to use their hate towards Broner to put Paulie Malignaggi down. But the fact is, Paulie Malignaggi has one of the hardest proven styles for anyone to deal with in the boxing game. Okay? It's my speculation, but I could almost say that it's fact that any slick boxer who's quick on his feet, quick with a jab, and quick head movement is going to give problems to almost anybody, okay? Almost anybody. I mean, he's got a granite chin, he's got heart, he's got a jab, he's got good fundamentals, he's quick. He beat Baby Bull Diaz twice, thoroughly, in my opinion. A guy that Juan Manuel Marquez struggled with. Yeah, he knocked him out, but he struggled with him. He went the distance with Miguel Cotto. This guy's just, he's, I feel bad for him. He gets way less credit than he deserves, strictly because he can't punch, which to me is unfair. But anyways, let's get on to the next name. Mikey Garcia. Okay. He's a guy that is not talked about too much, but this guy is a real technician. Okay? He's got a jab, he's got power, and he's a technician, he's a boxer. Okay? He was born into a family of boxers. His coach is his older brother. Okay? That's some good chemistry they got going on right now. And Robert Garcia is not known as being one of the trainers who is, how should I say it, a very cerebral trainer, such as Nacho Beristain, who is smart and who is going to put their fighter against, or is gonna know who their fighter has problems with. I don't see Robert Garcia as being one of those trainers that is, how should I say it, he's not going to have his fighter go in there with a plan A, B, and C. He's the type of guy that's going to say, do plan A harder, or give me more punches, you know what I mean? But somehow Mikey Garcia grew up and he became a technician. And I think Mikey Garcia is going to go pretty far in this boxing game. Alright, next guy I want to talk about is Terrence Crawford. Okay, the main reason I want to say he's underrated is because he doesn't get a lot of exposure. He doesn't get the exposure that Adrian Broner gets. But I think that he is up there talent-wise. I think, with his last couple of fights, the world should have taken notice. And I definitely took notice. But it just seems like he's someone that no one really talks about. And I think he's an extremely skilled, extremely well-rounded, complete fighter. That's just my opinion. Okay? The last fighter that I want to talk about that is underrated is Devin the Great Alexander. Devin Alexander, the Great, whatever you want to call him. Okay? Some people want to say he's a bitch for giving up against Tim Bradley. If you want to say that, that's fine. Tim Bradley was headbutting him all over the place, but whatever. He's a good boxer. He's a very good boxer. He's slick. He's real fast. He's southpaw, which is awkward for some people. Believe it or not, I think him and Mayweather is a pretty intriguing fight. When Mayweather put on his Twitter before he fought Guerrero that he was going to be fighting Devin Alexander, it's like the world just went crazy. The boxing world went crazy. Once again, Floyd's cherry picking. This is a stupid fight. To me, that fight was intriguing. I didn't mind. I would have rather him fought. I think it would have been a 10 times harder fight for him to fight Alexander than the Ghost Guerrero. That's just my opinion. Okay? This video is almost 20 minutes long. Look out for part 2. I'm gonna do the most overrated fighters, and that's probably the one that's gonna get a lot of people pissed. So, if I don't want to give away who I'm gonna say, but if you're sensitive, just don't watch it. All right, peace.